So what I'm saying is that just to give you more, yeah. So just to give you more, if you feel that there are certain topics that you need help with, you should always come to me. We can have some review sessions, and that also on Fridays, as you know, as I told you that you have those industry sessions on Friday, but we can just we can just put our session around that, like maybe before or after that. So that would be. Oh yeah, there's a KPM session with I think Mike, and I think it's at oh yeah, so it's at 11:30 for you. Am I right? 11:30 to 2:30. It's I think Mike Warden's session, and that's a very interesting session. And by the way, I need one more feedback. How many of you attended any of the KPM sessions last week and this week? Can you just give me a feedback of yes or no or me? So because KPM sessions, again, for your problems, for these two problems. Okay, David, that's a wonderful thing. And anyone else? I went once. Okay, Kara, you joined yesterday. Okay, so these KPM sessions, Ian, I would of course, Ian, if you are not having any problem. Yeah, exactly, Neil. That is the point. That is the point that I want to make over here. That Mark, you have to definitely you should go there. That is the point I want to make here. Um, Neil, that when things start getting difficult in JavaScript, you need to utilize that timing as well. And that's a and Mike is wonderful, Alex is wonderful, and you can go to any of them sessions. You can book a personal time with them as well. You see when they send a message to you, they have that personal time also set up for you. So please, all the help is available to you. Try to build your programming skills, and that's why I've given you this program yesterday. And I would highly recommend you, of course, you just Google and you will find the solution of everything. Yeah, you just Google and you'll find the solution. But again, if you are just maybe looking at the solution and doing that and then submitting that, it's of no use. It's just the waste of your time and my time as well. So you know what I mean. Try to go with that. And I really, because I saw the solutions today, the solutions of yesterday's problems, and I'm really happy that some students, they tried their best, but they were unable to solve that. I'm happy with that. Why? Because that tells me, okay, you have tried your best and you were unable to solve it. Of course, not everyone has the same, mental level or capacity. So that is rather very good than maybe someone goes on internet and copies the solution and then just hands it over to me. Even this solution is not a graded one. So is that of any worth if someone is by hooks or by crookes completing the solution and submitting it to me? No use. It's no grade. And by the way, even if that is a grade, which is QAP, you should be always trying to do it by yourself. Again, this will be if you do it by yourself. If you are unable to do that, you are doing a lots of good to yourself. And if you are not trying yourself, just maybe someone copying the solution and just sending it over just to have this that I have submitted. This is of no use. And let me tell you another very interesting thing. I would be really happy to have a note from some student. And again, this would be a genuine note that some students come and say that, Noman, I tried my level best, but I was unable to do this QAP2, for example. And that would be a real nice, genuine comment. And I'd be happy to have that comment rather than having a solution that I know that maybe you have just, you do not know what you have done. You have just done it by anyways. You know what I mean? And this is for from this one. Oh, that's wonderful. And Mackenzie, I would really appreciate that. Yes, I would really appreciate that. Um, you are just always commenting that out. But again, rather than looking at the solution, you should you should have two versions of a program, Mackenzie. You just make one program which is all garbage. You know that it's a throwaway garbage. I've written on this program. This is all a throwaway garbage. I was using very bad logic. Okay, then you maybe look for some, try to understand the logic, maybe not looking at the solution, trying to find out the solution by yourself and then first solution should be there always. And I'll be happy to have that throwaway solution of yours as well in the answer. So you show this was my first solution and this is my ultimate solution. And that's wonderful because, always the first solution will be, I call it a throwaway solution. a garbage or throwaway solution, because of course, for the first time, everyone, me, you, we are human beings, and we we really never we can never come up with something nice to start with. There are very few, superhumans like Roy, so they can just come up with a solution maybe for the very first time. But normal humans like me and yourself, we will be having a very bad solution to start with. So yes, Mackenzie, I would definitely like this, like to have this. Whenever you submit the solution, submit two solutions. Your very first solution, which would be very bad, having wrong logic, having wrong variables, everything is wrong. But I would be happy to get that. In comments, you can submit that. Okay, Naman, this was my first solution, and this is my last solution. So check between these two how much effort I have made. You know what I mean? So I hope that Mackenzie is saying that Mackenzie will do that. I'm hoping that everyone should try to do that. Should I hope from everyone again that in solution, and some general general feedback about the files that you guys have sent, that some of you forgot to mention, I mentioned some of the number one naming schemes of the, some guys have done wonderful job. They have named that according to that requirement. And also they have named here, they have on the top of the document, there is a comment, and I'll show you that, which I asked for everyone, but I did not find that in each and every document. There were few documents, they were missing that note as well. So please try to keep a note of that, that whenever you are sending a code to me, that code has, comments in the top, at the top, and those top comments are showing me that, okay, this solution is from so and so, and this was that question, this was made during that time, etc., etc., etc. So I hope you got my point. I've just taken this time today to make you understand the generic feedback that I was looking at your documents, and now I'll share my screen, and now I'll start my topic. And again, I'm still on that one, that we can have some review sessions, on Fridays maybe, and something like that. Okay, let me show you. I'm sharing my screen. This is what I meant, and I did not find that in some of the documents. And I think I have not mentioned this in their feedback, but please look at that one. You see, I said to you the file can be any name. Rather, file can be named, like for example, if Tyler is submitting Tyler underscore practice question or practice.js, it's fine. But this comment, name, date, and assignment, the practice questions, June 1. So, and then you had to start your question. And I'm very happy some of you guys have done a wonderful job. If I run your script file, I can see all the solutions over here. And that's a wonderful thing. And I would, again, maybe after today or after this session, I will take permission from those guys and I can show their solution to everyone. So you will be happy to say that, because they have one file. It has all the solutions. If I run that file, I'll get all the solutions on one page. But of course, that's something that you can do that also. So this was the practice that was required from you. Anyhow, so some of you have done a wonderful job, and most of you have done a very good job. But let's start our today's topic. Just keep that in mind, that if your review sessions, would they be mandatory, or just if you're confused by the weeks? Because I am busy so far. Oh yeah, so Kara, when a session will be called as a review session, it would be an optional one to attend. When a session will be called as a dev meeting or our session, not a review meeting, it would be mandatory for you to join. Kara, you know what I mean? Actually, you can leave these optional sessions, no problems. But of course, I would be happy that you look at the recordings later on, because sometimes we discuss few things that might be in a point of bother in your mind as well. But of course, you were not in that session. Someone asked that question, someone discussed that, and you can get that. So again, so please remember that if the session is called a review session, it's not mandatory for anyone. If a session is called, again, dev meeting or our meeting session or a class session, of course, that is something that is required from you. Okay, so yesterday we discussed conditional and we talked about one special statement, switch. You remember, everyone? Switch is a nice way. And I just forgot to add that question. I told you that I'll add a question, but I forgot that. Switch to make a monthly calendar. So if someone passes January should display some weather information and then break February, March, April, May. Anyhow, we'll just work our way that. So we talked about that. These are the 4 building blocks. Looping is one of the building block. Then functions are building the block. These are the 4 building blocks of JavaScript programs. And by the way, the most important building blocks of JavaScript is functions that we'll talk about today. And I will start these functions. And I would like to, again, remind everyone that whenever you feel that it's going a bit faster, I would put on brakes, like, and I will go one step backward. I'll just, do lots of things, and you're gonna, just to help you out, and you should be talking about that. Okay, so the topic for today during this week, so I'll start a new script file, and I'll call this file for today. I'll call this file functions.js because I will be discussing functions in details. Should I start? Because I was talking a lot and I did not ask for any feedback. Should we start now, functions? Because it's an important topic and I want everyone to understand these functions clearly before we go into any advanced topics. Okay, do we have David Sparrow today? Darren, sorry, Darren Sparrow. Darren, are you there? I do not see that. Oh, Darren, yes. Looks like you are here. Darren, can I have a, okay, thank you, Darren. So we are starting functions today. So the topic for today is functions. Now, first of all, definition of function. I'm doing everything in the script, by the way. So I'll just share this script file with you later on, function.js, functions.js. So first of all, the definition of a function. A function is a subprogram, okay, or a smaller portion of code that can be called, and calling means it is also called invoking a function, invoked, right, by another part of your program. Very important definition, and I would be very slow in that one because, again, as I said, this is far more the most basic building blocks of our program. Function is a subprogram. I think you have worked functions in your Python code. Is that right? There were few functions that were predefined. You just use them. Print function, so there were certain functions that you used, and now we are talking about this function. Now, that function. So function is a subprogram or a smaller portion. We define it once and we call it as many times as we want. That's the real theme behind that. Call it define it once and use it as many times as you want. It's called, calling a function or invoking a function. Now, in general, functions are of 2 types. Just predefined functions and UDFs, user-defined functions. Functions and user-defined. As I told you, in Python, you found print function. You found whatever functions that were already there, and you just used to call them, and they used to do their work. So they are all called predefined functions. The programmers have defined in the language, and you just call them and use them, right? Now a very interesting question. Have we, till this point of time, used any predefined function in our any program? In JavaScript, I'm talking about. Have we used any predefined function? Can anyone tell me the name of one function that we have used a predefined function? If we have used one. Wonderful. Actually, in this console.log, you are right. Console.log we used to use. But keep in mind, I'll tell you later on. Actually, the function which we are using is typically this log function. Yeah, console is not the function, by the way. I'll tell you what is console. But right now, understand the log is a function. And how do you recognize a function? Whenever after the name, if you find, you remember, I think I have used this function. To upper is a function. To upper. How do you know something is a function? And if I ask you, upper. If I ask you, what is the function out of these two? So what you will say, line number 10 or 12? Exactly. The parenthesis will tell us. The line number 10. Line number 10 is a function to upper because there is a parenthesis with that. Okay, anyhow. So, in that console.log, if you look carefully, actually log is the function. Console is not a function. I'll tell you what is console. We'll talk about that. But log is a function. To upper is a function. To lower is a function. You know what I mean? So function necessarily has these parentheses. Okay. So there are lots of predefined functions. We'll talk about predefined functions in JavaScript as well. But today what we are starting is the UDFs, user defined functions. We'll first talk about how to do user defined functions, because why I am discussing that? Because in JavaScript, actually the JavaScript program is all made of functions, all made of functions, right? And you will find that there are so many interesting things that we can do with functions in JavaScript, which would be a surprising part for you as well. At times you will say, okay, we can do this much things with the function. But anyhow, I'll talk about this. And you need to have a very good understanding. And I just forget to mention that. Try to build a very good understanding of functions. So you have to try to build very good understanding, and that's a very important point, right? So you have to be very, very vigilant in making a functions, and we'll talk about this one. So right, so we'll be writing functions, and we are talking about the user defined functions. So user defined functions are those functions that I will define for myself, right? What does that mean? So you know that log is a function, console.log, that we use. But do you know there is a function myadd? No, there is no function myadd, but I will create myadd function. I will be writing those functions. But again, first of all, how to make a function in JavaScript. Rather, even before discussing this UDF, I will write a heading: syntax of a function in JavaScript. Syntax of functions in JavaScript. How to define JavaScript function, because it was different in Python. So I will tell you the syntax of the function. Then I'll talk about the user defined functions, right? So syntax of a function, how to define function in JavaScript. We use this function keyword. Then we use the name of the function. So for example, I always create this greeting function, the first function, greeting. Then comes parenthesis. Then comes curly braces, the body of the function. Does that make sense to everyone? And now let's write a statement over here so that we try to understand. Now, this is the syntax of the function. Now, what is the syntax? I'll take my marker. First of all, this function keyword, then the name of the function that you want to give. Then this is the part of syntax, the rounded brackets, then curly braces to start the body of the function. This is called body of the function. And all those statements in between will be called as the body of the function. The start of the body of the function and end of the body of the function. And this will be called statements to run the function. So I'll just, write some comments over here. Rather, I'll just, try to do that, even though my prettier will just again change that. But let me write it. Start of the body of the function. And here, end of the body of the function, right? And these are all what? Statements that are part of the function. You know what I mean? So I've just commented it out. And again, I don't know if I will hit save. Yes, it just shows, start of the function. So you see here, this is my function. Function keyword, greeting, and when this function is executed, it will print console.log. Welcome to JavaScript functions. Is syntax making sense to everyone? So function keyword, name of the function, parenthesis, curly braces, body of the function. Now, if I run my program, it's node functions dot. What will be my output? Functions.js. What will be my output before running that? What should be my output? Yes, I need answer from you. What will be my output over here if I run this program? Okay, Mark says nothing. Mark, you're right. It will run your function. Now, please remember, no output. And the answer lies in Mark's exactly. This is just function has been defined. And I want everyone to understand. Define the function. If you want to run this function, you need to call this function like this. I would need a thumbs up from those who are saying maybe, yeah, maybe that it would print. It will never print anything unless I call this function, and it's really sensible thing. It's a make sense thing. Okay, function made, it has not been called. If it is not been called, how would it run? You know what I mean? So only declaring something, this is called function declaration. I have declared a function and then I have called the function. So this is called, so I'll just write over here. Declare the function. What function will do? You know what I mean? And over here, this is called what? Calling the function. And by calling, I mean, I wrote it down, invoking a function. Also called invoking a function. Is that clear? So syntax, we have just talked about the syntax. So this is called function declaration, a function keyword, name of the function that you want to give, parenthesis to tell it it's a function, start of the body, statements of the functions, end of the body. Now I can keep on calling this function. Now, when I call this function, see what happens. Welcome to JavaScript. And by the way, if I write again, greeting, will I have two outputs or will have only one output? Can anyone tell me? Will I have two outputs or one output only? Like one welcome to JavaScript functions or two welcome to JavaScript functions? Of course, two. Why? Because I have called it twice. Make very sensible sort of thing. You understand that one? Exactly, same output twice. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now let me just make these comments, and I hope you have you are with me, and I am just making them comment over here. Now I was talking about, as we have to define user-defined functions. User-defined functions are also of different categories, different types. So user-defined functions, this is one user-defined function that I defined, function greeting, right? So user-defined functions are also of two types in JavaScript. The first type is called function declarations, as I have just mentioned, function declarations. The second type is called function expression, which will be very new for you. And I will discuss both of them. And there is another type. You remember? I will just leave that question mark. Remember? We did that before as well. When we were using the backticks, I just put a question mark over there so that I did not want to confuse everyone over there. Just remember, these are the two types of function declaration and function expression. Are you making sense of it? Third is a question mark. I'm not telling you what is third. I'll tell you that later on what is the third one. Now, first of all, the first function declarations. Function declarations. Function declaration is exactly the same that I did before. So just we write the function keyword. Then we write the function, for example, foo, you can call it anything. And then we write this body. So this is a very basic function declared function. It is called function declaration. And how would you separate it from something? You can call it what? The most basic function, or it can be so called as no operation function. It has nothing in it. If I call this foo, nothing will happen. No console log, nothing. But anyhow, you should know that this is also a function. You know what I mean? Now, a function can be of this type. I'll just first of all write the definition and then write the comment. Function is square. That will accept a number and return n multiplied by n. Does that make sense? A function, I should write its original definition. A square function accepts one parameter n and returns its value squared. That makes sense to everyone? A function can be like this. It looks a bit useful function. which is accepting one value over here, which is accepting one parameter over here, which is accepting one parameter. And you don't need to give any data type or anything or the parameter, just write the parameter. So it will accept one value and return two values. I'll run those functions later on. But first of all, I'm telling you these different shapes. So a function that accepts one parameter, this is called parameter. Everyone knows that parameter. Something that we pass in that parenthesis is called parameter. Something that function returns is called the return of the function. I'll talk about that. Now the third type, like again, in the function declaration, another function can be function my add a comma b, a plus b. Now, can anyone tell me what is this function definition? You will say my add function accepts how many parameters? So would you have a code var n is equal to 5, for example, above? Oh, Neil, I'm not making sense of your question. I'll come to your question. Yes, accept how many parameters? 2 parameters. Yes. Wonderful. And returns what? Returns what? Their sum. It returns their sum. Yes, so returns one value, but it's their sum. It's actually the sum of the two values. You know what I mean? The values that were passed to it. Now here I would like to, I would like to, run maybe one of the. So now we have these three functions. I can run any of them. First of all, tell me. Okay, right now I have no output because I've just made all line comments. The previous line has comments. So there is no output because, I have not called any function. Now, if I call this foo function, what will be my output now? Foo. I'm calling this foo function. What will be my output? Quickly, nothing, because foo has now nothing inside that one. That's wonderful. Now, if I call after that foo, if I call square and I pass 5 to it, what will be my output? Quickly, what will be my output? Neil, you are saying undefined for foo? No, still nothing because you haven't started up it. That's a wonderful answer. Now listen, everyone. Listen, everyone. This is a very important. No output from this line as well. And first of all, I'll close this one for the second. Why no output? You see that when I call this function, this function is called and it returns a value, which is 25, by the way. 25 comes over here. But do I have a print statement to print this 25? Do I have a print statement? No. So still no output. Foo to work, you would need to define and write. Oh, no. Just leave foo. Mackenzie, leave foo. Foo was a basic function that was not doing anything. So I've just made it dead. I don't want this because it was not doing anything at all. Don't worry about the foo. Now we are talking about the square. Yeah, Kara, I'm about to tell you. But again, okay, Mackenzie, are you clear about that? Yeah, so just forget about this foo. I just told you that function can be which does not accept any parameter, does not return anything. It looks like, but I'll tell you different shapes of the function. Anyhow, Kara, now listen. So it is returning a value, but there is nothing to catch this value. You know what I mean? It means if I come over here, see here, if I write console.log and I call this square of 5 inside that one. Now my output will be 25. And I hope you will understand why this 25. Who is printing this 25? So console.log, when I call a function square 5, this function is called from here. This function accepts 5 as an n, and it returns n into n 25. 25 comes into these brackets. 25 is generated from this function, and console.log prints out this 25. I would need a thumbs up from everyone that you understand what's going on. Console log is printing the value coming out of it. That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Glenn. Terence, Mackenzie, Darren. Nice. I can see lots of thumbs up. There are 4 names which are hidden from me. Ian Collins, thank you. That's wonderful.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So basically for the console.log with the square 5, you created a function, and then that number 5, which you've put on console.log, that 5 becomes the n, which then gets multiplied and then is then returned. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly correct. So you see here, who is that I'm talking to? I'm sorry, Neil?
Yes, it was Neil.
So
yeah.
Neil, you see this all declaration will be replaced with 25. Why? Because I sent 5. this function returns me 25. This whole will be replaced with 25. Do you know what I mean? It will be replaced with 25.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And console.log. Now, I would like to trick you a bit. I would like to trick you a bit. Who will tell me what will be my output now? Console.log into n. Now, I have changed a bit of declaration. Can anyone tell me? I'm just removing this foo, and because this foo was nothing for. Can anyone tell me what will be my output now? I need outputs in your chat window. What will be my output now? I'm talking about this square function. I've passed 5 to it. 5 goes over there. Something happens and then something happens. What will be my output? William says, and okay, Glenn says 25, 25. And William says, Kara says not a number. Going to guess 25. That's wonderful. Guess. You'll get the print in the function. Now see here. That's a very good answer. Who that? Glenn guessed 25 twice. Now listen, and I would like everyone to understand that. This console, so you see here, I called this function from this point. Function called. Neil, try to understand that, and I hope you understand. So listen, 5 has been passed. The function starts, function says console.log n into n, 5 into 5. So console.log from the function, it prints 25. You know what I mean? The first 25 will come from this line. Then it returns n into n, which is 25, which comes back over here and it becomes 25 over here. And the second 25 is printed by this console.log, this one. I'll talk about that. William, I'll talk about that. William, please, right now, just understand what I'm trying you to understand. Why have you people just, this is just, I'll come to this statement. Don't worry. But William, do you understand what I'm telling you? Don't worry about the n is not there. I'm asking you that, are you understanding what I'm trying to understand? I'm like, make you understand. That's a very important point. I would answer your all queries, but please try to listen what I'm saying right now. How it has generated. Oh, why n was undefined? You see that, and why n was undefined? See here, William. So you see here, William, I'm passing this 5. 5 is coming as a 9, like n will become 5. And 5 multiplied by 5, 25 will be printed, and then 25 will be printed. 25 will be returned, and this 25 will be printed over here. William, is that making sense? No problem. If you have that question, I was thinking that maybe you are asking if n is not defined, n is not there. No need to define that. William, listen, and for not only for William, it's for everyone. Whenever we give a parameter like this, remember that it is automatically defined over here, and it will catch the value that you pass in when you are calling that function into it. Now, what I'll do for the time being, I'm taking this above that because, I just want to discuss about this function, and I'll even make it a comment for a second. The previous one. You see here, William, are you getting that? Because I want you to understand the real concept. I pass 5. 5 becomes, n becomes 5. It prints 25. And then it returns 25. That 25 comes over here, and this console.log prints that 25. So the first 25 comes from here, this one, and the second 25 comes from here, this line. Can I get a thumbs up from everyone? Because this is very, very important. We still have a line break. Said instead return console.log n into n. Oh yeah. So Glenn, Glenn, functions do not return the console line. Usually we do not console.log return. But I'll tell you what you want to say. Now, first of all, tell me here, what will be my output now? Can anyone tell me what will be my output now? The exact output. Yeah, new line will be always there. It will be a line break. Don't worry. So see here, what will be my output now? Can anyone tell me what will be my output? 5 and 25. That's wonderful. 5 and 25. It would be, of course, in a new line because 525. That's wonderful. 525. That's an excellent thing. That's an excellent thing. Now, please be ready to be tricked. If I take out this return statement from my function, even delete that. I'll just write that again. Now here comes something very, very special. What will be my output now? 5. Neil says 5. Okay. William says 25. Good. Anyone else? 5, 5. 5, 5. Okay. 5. Anyone else? 2 5s. Good. 5 and 5. That's wonderful. Now listen over here. It is 5 and undefined. 5 and undefined. Now, here I would like you to just, don't ask a question for a few seconds. Just listen to me what I'm saying. I will go with the questions, but right now just listen to this one. Why 5 and undefined? So I have the console.log statement that calls a function. This function is called with the 5 value. This function is called with the 5 value. 5 has been passed over here. Listen. You should not be bamboozled. 5 value. Console.log prints the 5. You see that 5 is coming over here. Now, does this function return anything? Does this function return anything? Yes or no? There is no explicit return statement. There is no return statement over here. So does this function return anything explicitly? No, not at all. So since this does not return, so this all call is replaced with undefined because nothing is coming back from the function. So this console.log prints undefined. Can I get a thumbs up over here? Because these are basic concepts. And if you'll understand that, you will be very good in programming. But again, you need to know all these things. So in JavaScript, that's wonderful. Thank you. In JavaScript, if you do not explicitly use, explicitly use a return statement, David, you are right. It is expecting a return, but return is not coming. And if you do not explicitly make a return, it returns undefined to you. You know what I mean, David? It returns undefined always. I hope everyone is with me. Now tell me another thing. Again, I don't want to confuse you at all. I just want to tell you a few things. Now I've changed a little to that one. Now what will be my output now? What will be my output now? Exact output I need. Exactly. Yes, that's wonderful. 5, 5. 5, 5. Yes, that's wonderful. You know what I mean? And now, now tell me. What will be my output now? Now, what will be my output? Oh, Neil says 5 and undefined. William says 5 and wonderful. Colin, exactly. It really does not matter what it is returning. Whatever it is returning, this function will be replaced with that value. Not a not a number. You just don't worry because it never really worries about what is coming. It just says what is returning. It says I'm returning wonderful. It will just return wonderful. Neil, did you get that? Neil, you are saying undefined. No, it is returning you something and it will definitely return that one. And if I ask you a tricky question from our last class, wonderful. For example, this one. I hope that will work because I'll have to just check maybe if I need to do some text. Okay, yeah, that works right. So now see here. What will be my output now? You would have seen that. First of all, it will print the 5. This console.log is print a 5. Yeah, so it can return anything you type out there. Yeah, exactly. You are right. So you see here what it will happen. Wonderful and 5 will be concatenated together. They will become one string and I'll get my output like this. 5, wonderful 5. Yeah, exactly. I hope that's making real sense to everyone. And and now I would like you to just understand something. I'll make it exactly the same program as before. I'm taking this console log. I put it there just for your understanding. And this is a very valid work that I have done. Now, please be back to our very basic. This function will just print 25. And why printing 25? This call is being replaced with the return of 25. Everyone understand that? I've gone back to very basic because I would like you to discuss or to understand some extra things after that one. Everyone good with that one? That function is returning something and it is just printing up over here. Right, that's good. So now you understand that a function returns a value. So it means return function always returns a value. If you do not make, so if, for example, if I do that, even that statement is not doing anything. What will be my output now? Just single output. What will be the output? My function has no console.log. I have only one console.log outside of the function. What will be my output here? Think about it. What will be my output? I've not got any answer. Think about it. Undefined. You are right. Mike, undefined. Mike, you understand why? Because I'm passing 5 square n, but it is not returning anything explicitly. And you remember, if it does not return anything, by default, the undefined is basically returned. That's wonderful. Now, this was the second type of function, like, it was another function that was accepting one parameter. Now I will just make it comment, and I will keep this, I'll bring this my add function, because, I want you to understand this function now. You see, this is now I'm discussing a 2-parameter function. Now you are very good at it. Let's tell me what will be my output here. Quickly, what will be my output? What will I see on my output? Anyone? Mark 9, nothing. I'm not getting any output. Mark, try to understand. There is no console.log now over there. Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. I did not want to trick you. I want you to just, understand the concept. Now see here, console.log. Now, Mark, your answer was quite right. Now it should display what? 9, because 5 and 4 will be added together. You know what I mean? Now listen about that. I want to tell you a very, very, very important point over here. Let's see now who will reply me that what will be the answer. If I say my add 5, I just pass one value. What will be my output? Please don't run program and try to remember the data types. When we're discussing data types, I told you what will happen here. Undefined 10. Okay, anyone else? That's wonderful, Ian. Undefined. Ian says undefined. But I would like to know the real answer. The answer, exactly, Neil, you have got it right. NaN. And you know why? You know why? Because only first A will be has 5, and 5 will be, if you add, listen, if you add a number with undefined, it becomes NaN. What I'm doing, try to do 5 plus undefined. It is always equal to NaN, not a number. How many of you understand that one? This is very interesting, because I can call this function. This function is just passing a 5. 5 goes there. 5 is added to because B is undefined over here. B is undefined over here. So 5 goes over here. 5 is added to undefined. And when 5 is added to undefined, it says, oh, 5 is added to undefined, and it should become a NaN, not a number. Exactly. I need to send 2 parameters. Now, if I send 2, if I send 2, 5, of course, now it will accept 2 parameters and it will return a 7.
What happens?
Yeah.
Just a question, Noman.
Yeah.
What happens if it was a 2 and the letter S? Would it concatenate for you?
That's a wonderful thing. So you say that if I pass this 2 and X, for example, something like that. You want to say that? Okay. Now see what will happen. That's a wonderful question. You see 2x because plus has found 2 valid legitimate values, be it string, be it number, be it whatever. It just adds them and returns the value. That's a very nice question. And by the way, who will tell me what will be the, everyone understand that what is the output? If I take 2 inverted commas 2, what will be my answer now? What will be my output now? 2 and inverted commas 2. That's wonderful. This should be 22 because 2 has become a string. Now, are you ready to be tricked? A little trick I will do with you. I'll just try to expand this function on a bit, but with a trick. Same calling, remember. If A equals B, just look at the program, right? I will just tell you. Return A plus B. Else return A. Okay. Be ready to be tricked. Mark, be ready to be tricked. So If A equals B, return B. Okay, first of all, not tricking you, just a very simple output. 2, 4. Now tell me what will be my output. I would like to have your outputs quickly. What will be my output here? I have passed 2 and 4. I have got a condition. Okay, you say 2. Wonderful. It should be 2. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, if I come over here and I say 2, 2, what will be my result now? Neil, now what will be my result after your 2? 4. Ian says 4. That's wonderful. It would be 4. Good. So far, good going. Now, if I pass 2 and string 2, what will be my output now after Neil's 4? 4 again because of coercion. Kara says 2. 4 because it's not. That's a wonderful, wonderful answer. Kara, see here. What is happening over here? What is happening over here? You know, you tricked. So I tricked you, Mark. I tricked you. See here, even though you are right, this statement is returned. But now since it was it was a string, so it does not do coercion over here. It just do coercion over there. Exactly. You know, so so you know, half a part of your answer was 100% correct. Everyone says that it should be 4 now. But now remember, the magic is that 2 plus 2, because it does the coercion on equal, but it does not do the coercion on plus. Glenn, does that make sense? The coercion does not happen in addition. And now, how about this one now? Now, what will be my output now? Look at the code clearly, like, you know, carefully. What should be my output now? Ian says 2. Everyone agrees to 2? Yes, now it will be 2 because now this condition has become false. Previously, this condition became true. That's why it ran. Is that enough magic for today? David, you understand that? You know, I'm just, you know, trying to make you guys understand what the real essence behind functions and real essence behind that one.
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So for, let's say if you took out that third equals and it was just it wasn't like the hard equals, whatever it's called. So for the return A plus B, it's not going to actually add them. It just joins them because because one of them is a string and it just turns the other one into a string?
Exactly, Neil. This is exact point because B is a string that I have passed. So coercion allowed it to go into this condition, but coercion will never make it like, you know, plus does not make the coercion. So plus will say, okay, one side of mine is string, one side of mine is integer. I will concatenate them, not add them. Neil, got it?
Yeah, thank you. That explains it. Thank you.
So coercion does not change the variable type. Glenn, it does not change the variable type. You know, listen. This equal to does the coercion and it just changes for its position, you know, just for the equation. After that, variable remains the same. You know, variable value remains the same, variable type remains the same. It just does it for line and check it. And if that found equal, it says okay. Glenn, this is a very, very important discussion. I think it's a very, you know, yeah, it's just for validation. You're right. Just for validation. You're right. But the type is not changed of a variable. I hope that guys are with me. And now I would just give one more thing over here, and then we will just, you know, so just so I understand. Equal to is for assigning value variable. Equal means two variables are equal, and equal means do not use coercion to change the type. So Kara, you understood almost correctly. Now listen this statement. I'm just, you know, making your statement a bit tweak, like trick. So you have written down single equal to is for assigning a value to variable. Yes, very yes. Double equal means two variables are equal. It does not mean that. Double equal means compare two variables. And for comparing, if you need to change the type, also change the type and then compare. The coercion we are talking about. Kara, listen about that. Double equal to compare two values, but if you need, you can change the type of one side so that then you compare it, which is a bad thing. We have seen that. Equal. The third part, it says strict equality. never change the type of any site for comparison. Both of them are doing comparison. Equal to is equal, equal is comparison, equal, equal, equal is comparison. But equal, equal is a loose comparison. Equal, equal, equal is a strict comparison. Equal, equal will change either type, like the type of that one for comparison, for validation, and equal, equal, equal will not. Kara, does that does that speech make sense to you? I made a very, long speech about that. Okay, that's wonderful. Right. So now I would just give you another shape of this same one. And you should really appreciate that because we have talked about this one. Return A equal 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 B question mark plus B colon A. How many of you understand it is exactly the same code? Remember ternary operator? Remember ternary operator? A equal 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 B. Check if A is equal to B. If yes, return A plus B. If they are not equal, return A. Exactly. Question mark. This is the condition. Now take my marker. This is the condition. Check this condition. If it is true, return A plus B. If it is true. And if it is false, return A. Is that exactly the same what we were doing before? Now, I'll write another code. How many of you understand that? First of all, return A equal 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 B condition test. If the condition is true, return A plus B. If the condition is false, return A. That's wonderful. I will write another code that you have just done and tell me what is that. Function even n. Return n remainder 2 equals 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 0 question mark yes colon no. Console.log even 5. You see that you have done something of this solution last night, the yesterday's solution. Multiple finger, you would still have to use else if statement, or is there another shorthand for that one? I'll tell you, Ian. But first of all, how many of you understand this? What will be my output? Yes or no? What will be my output? Yes or no? Kara, do you understand? But why no? N remainder 2. Just check the remainder of 2 division by this n number. If it is equal to 0, return yes. If it is not, return n. And how about this? What will be my output now? Yes, I've just made a function that can do this for you. So yes, 4 is an even number. So for practice purpose, can I expect you guys to those programs where you were checking even odd numbers, and then where you were collecting the sum of even or odd numbers? Can you try to write some functions related to that with today's date, like make a file with today's date, June 2, and just write the function equivalent of those code that you have written down? You know what I mean? So the code that you have written down, just change that into this form and try to write as less code as possible. So Ian asked if there is any other shortcut way. Ian, remember, even we can have another ternary operator over here. Another ternary operator over here. I'm not telling you right now because we have already discussed a lot of things. But do you understand, everyone, this even condition? That's a wonderful. This is one line function and it can check whether a number is even number or not. If I just pass a very a big number 47, it will tell me whether it's an even number or not. Darren, are you good with it? Darren, it's just the basics. So, so today I'm just, trying to make all the basics very, very, very clear to everyone. Darren, you are finding it understanding this one, Darren? And everyone, not only Darren, by the way. Okay, Darren says yeah. So Darren, I would be looking for your solution, because I think you were not there in yesterday's sessions because of some reasons. But anyhow, can you send me the solution maybe by tonight or tomorrow? The same questions that I've given, practice questions. They are submit like they are available on the assignments part, and you will find week 5, and there is the question like practice questions over there. Right. So again, all those who have not submitted those practice questions, please submit that. They are very nice. They are very important. And then again, I have said you, if ever you start feeling we need a review session, please let me know. I will definitely announce one, and it would be a review session, not a mandatory one for anyone, just an optional one. If you want to join, come and join. If you don't want to join, no problems, at all, and you can just work your way with that one. Okay, so any questions, anyone now? And I hope that today's lecture was helpful for you. And by the way, if you want, we can have a review session like starting from tomorrow. If you guys want, if you guys feel that we need to have one, we can have a tomorrow, like one session tomorrow maybe. David says not at this point. Okay, but okay, David, maybe next week we will just plan one anyhow, right? Next week Friday, I might plan one anyhow, because we are heading towards our sprint one very fast. Sprint one will start on June 20th week. So I think I would have at least 1 or 2 review sessions before that. Yeah, I will go over the cards. That's okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, but again, Kara says like she's good with the things so far. But again, if someone is feeling uncomfortable, please come back to me. Please, please, please. I'm saying that again, time and again, because I sometimes do not feel it, and I just keep on going forward, 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 and the students remain behind. I don't want you to be remain behind. Okay, Mark says good for now. Thank you very much, Mark. And so I'm here. If you have any questions, we can just go through them. Otherwise, we are done with the topic for today.